Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am David Squeezaniki of the Linkup Media Group of Companies. I am doing what's called parallel testing. It's where we actually test with one of our clients to ensure that everything is going to work when we genuinely go live. And of course, if you're watching this on Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in. You know I'm a broadcaster. Please share this with as many people as possible. And I have there she goes. She's playing techie, and she's not a technical person.
No, I'm not.
She's in the business of mortgages, not to play tech. Leave the tech business to us, Des. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things I like to do when I'm actually doing a radio show or a television show or anything, I always like the person to actually introduce themselves. I have a very special lady here because the best person to introduce one is always the person themselves. So I will tell you, I'll just say her first name, which is Des. All right. I've established a relationship with her in the capacity of mortgages. I'll talk more about that. How are you doing today, Des? And who are you, Des?
I'm doing well. Thank you, David. My name is Des Ethridge, and I'm a licensed mortgage loan officer with Caliber Home Loans. And I am an individual who is on a mission to get as much of my people as possible into homes of their own.
Right. Now, I like the fact that you said as much as my people, and let's just put it bluntly, as much as the African-American community, us Black folks. There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying that. I love my white folks. You and I went to school with a lot of them. We work in capacity with a lot of them. I love them to death. But so I do love my people also, all right? Tremendously, immensely, all right? And so I had a conversation with Des recently about mortgages and the huge void that's within our community, and that community being the Caribbean community. There's a huge void, and we say void meaning that people don't understand how mortgages work. Some don't even understand what mortgages are, believe it or not. And some people don't even know where to go get a mortgage. They are saying maybe they should go to their depositors banks, such as the I won't call any names, but all these other banks that you put your money in, you know, maybe that's where you should get your mortgage. Is that advantageous for you? Maybe, maybe not. So that's one of the reasons why I said, you know what, I have a very powerful radio show on 93.5 FM in New York since 1996. I'm showing my age. And I have a very powerful following on Facebook, as Des Ethridge just found out. All right. And I said, I think we need to share what this entire mortgage capacity is all about. So I'd let you just, expound on that a little bit, Des, so people understand. Yes, you provide mortgages for people, but I do believe that our community needs to understand more about why mortgages by way of you.
Okay. Well, the first thing is there's no better feeling than being in your own and having your own. Mm-hmm. Being in your own home, making it as comfortable as you'd like it to be, especially during these times when we spend most of our time at home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have been doing mortgages since 2004. So I've been in the business over 16 years as a loan officer, mm-hmm. right? So I've pretty much seen most of what you could possibly see out there. And one of the things I've seen, pardon?
You said 16 or 15?
16.
16 years, wow. Okay.
Yes, 16 years. And one of the things that I observe I have seen so many people try to get a loan. I've heard the stories sometimes after the fact. If they come to me in time, I could save them. But I've seen so many people try to get mortgages. They go to someone else and they kind of shut them down. Or they make them feel as if there is no way, right? Mm-hmm. There is always a way. I say it to every customer, there's always a way. Doing a mortgage, it's like a puzzle and the pieces have to come together, right?
Right.
So you have your income, which means you have to have a job, which most people have a job, right?
Right.
Your credit. If your credit is good, great. If your credit is bad, it can be fixed, right?
There you go.
Okay. So you have credit, you have income, and then you have funds. You need some form of down payment. You may need money for closing costs, but there are also alternatives. What I think is that most people don't have the knowledge that they need in order to succeed at getting that mortgage. And I am here to help you, give you that information so you could know what you need to do in order to get a home of your own. Because as I said, everybody has the ability to buy. If you can't do it by yourself, maybe you need a co-signer, right? Maybe you need to get your credit fixed. Maybe you need to save a little more. Maybe you need a gift, or maybe you need what's called a seller's concession. So I've had customers who would come to me wanting to buy a house and they need 50,000, they only have 30. Did you know that you could get a concession from the seller for that 20,000? So you have a customer who may be out there with that 30,000, waiting another year or two to save that 20, not knowing that they could actually buy now if they find a house and a seller that's willing to give them that 20 as a concession. So I think knowledge is key. Knowledge is power, and I'm here to impart that knowledge to my fellow people, like anybody. But I'm targeting my people because I want to help my people more to get into homes.
Okay.
And that's why I think I would be a good source for them.
Absolutely. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us right now, we are talking mortgages by Des. That's what I'm calling this. And of course, she's going to be with us on Sundays, anywhere between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on 93.5 WVIP FM and other parts of my radio show. I do believe that she is the right one for the community to understand more about what mortgages are and how they can help us. As she stated, she believed that everyone can get a piece of the American dream. And that is very true. And everyone deserves a piece of the American dream. Way too many of us are still renting when we can do better than that. You know, as we say, the term that is constantly being used, fire your landlord. It's true. You can fire your landlord. Des mentioned something. As long as you have income, I am sure she can put you in a home. All you need to do is actually reach out to her. Now, before I give out the number that goes directly to her, I need for Des to, you know, you're going to realize that I'll bring up a certain point. You said that the seller can give one a concession. What is a concession? I'm being naive here. What is a concession?
Okay, a seller's concession is that's the complete term. It's basically the seller allowing you to include some of your costs in the price of the home. So I'll give you an example. If you're buying a house for say 500,000, and you need an extra 20,000, that seller would have to agree to sell you the house for 520, with the 500 going to them as the seller and the 20,000 to you to help you with your closing costs. That's how a seller's concession works. There are different rules depending on the type of loan you're getting. So if you're getting an FHA loan, you're allowed up to 6%. If you're getting a conventional loan, then it's tiered, and it depends on the amount of your down payment. So if you're putting down 5%, you could only get a 3% concession, but if you're putting down 20%, you could get a 6% seller's concession. So.
Wow, you know what? I just tested you, but you know your stuff. Let me just put that. You really know your stuff. All right. Now, there's so many people out there, and I know you're a very big advocate of purchasing, you know, in contrast to financing, although you handle both, because you want people to become homeowners, because that's where the American dream really starts. But before we talk more on that, let's give out the phone number that points directly to you. And that number, ladies and gentlemen, happens to be 1-800-517-0235. If she's on the air with me, when you dial the 800 number, it actually emails her at a personal direct email. So you know you're getting her. And that number, once again, is 1-800-517-0235. Reach out to Des and speak to her about mortgages. Speak to her about you buying your house. Now, let's talk a little bit about getting pre-approved. How does one go about getting pre-approved, Des?
Okay. Getting pre-approved is the process by which I would actually review all your credentials to determine the price point that you could afford. So I would review your income, which matters. I'll review your credit. I'll review how much money you have. And I'll be able to make a determination to say, well, you could probably purchase a one family in Queens at this price, or a one family in Long Island at that price. Right. So the pre-approval process is the process where I review everything. And basically that review is the same as if you were to be underwritten, because I'm a very astute individuals. So I make sure I check everything to the T before I say this, you're good here, or you could proceed there.
Okay. Now, what are the things that's needed to get one pre-approved to buy a house? So what get one, potentially on the path to this mortgage? One, it's income,
Okay.
right?
Right. So for income, I would need your pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns.
Okay, that's one. And by the way, speaking of income, the pay stub, W-2 tax returns, can one use their 401k and their retirement savings also?
That's assets. That's where the assets come in. That's money. Right. So it's very funny because a lot of people hide their money. They don't want to send the statements. And I say to them, if you don't show me the statement, I don't know you have the money.
Right.
So the bank statements.
Okay.
Like
good.
There's so much to talk about. I think we'll probably have to split it up in tiers because
and we will.
money.
We will.
Money is something that has to be addressed.
Yes. Right. But I want people to actually hear us touch on all these little different parts. So this way they know that you, Des Ethridge, know what it is you're talking about. So that's the reason why we're doing this pre-launch show. People can see your depth, your experience for the past 16 years. You are a mortgage loan officer. You are great at what you do. You love helping the African-American community. You love especially helping the Caribbean community. And you're here to fill a void, So income, the other thing is credit. Let's talk about that. What credit score is needed and DTI?
Okay. So credit score, the score varies depending on the program that you're trying to get the loan from. So the most common are FHA and conventional loans, right? FHA stands for the Federal Housing Administration. That's the federal government. It's backed by the federal government. Conventional loans are loans from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. These are most of the kind of loans that I'd be able to give, right? Mm-hmm. I do jumbo loans as well, but we'll talk about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac right now. Every bank has their own guidelines and they change ever so often. Mm-hmm. So for example, at the moment, I'm with Caliber and the minimum score that Caliber requires is 580.
Right.
But there are buts. So with a 580 score, that doesn't mean that everything is available to you. And this is for FHA loans. For conventional loans, the minimum is 620. Mm-hmm. But of course, there are all these rules again, right? So that's where the one-on-one consultation comes into play. So it's a overview of your whole financial picture, right? So if somebody has a 580 score, which is the lowest of the low, mm-hmm. but they may have really high income, so they have a really low DTI. Those are compensating factors. So I'm...
Go ahead. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I may be able to approve somebody at 580 with really high income, but 580 with low income where everything else is tight, it may not work so well. So there are rules to everything, right? I'm just giving the basic guidelines.
And that is the reason why
580 is the minimum.
That's the reason why they need to call you. And
exactly.
You don't want to fit a square peg in a round hole or vice versa. You want to fit them into the right loan. And that's
exactly so.
You are a mortgage loan officer who has that experience and can help a lot of people. Now, once again, folks, the number is 800-517-0235. We're just doing a pre-launch as to what's to come tomorrow between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. You'll hear us a few times in there talking about mortgages, especially when it comes to purchasing. Now, there's another thing that's needed when it comes to buying a home, and it's called the down payment. I don't know if you want to touch on that. What can be used as the down payment for the down payment? And
well, the down payment is money, and it could come from many sources, right? So your savings, checking, that's pretty straightforward. You mentioned 401k. It could also come from your 401k account. If you're lucky enough to get a gift, you could get a gift from a family member, right? And then you have the concession. That's also a source of down payment. So there are alternatives out there.
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to conclude right now, but I wanted you to actually hear her voice. This thing works pretty good from what I hear, the quality, everything. Stunning lady over there with a stunning mind, of course, to help a lot of people. And of course, she was with Caliber Loans, NMLS number 15622, which is an equal housing lender. And of course, LO NMLS 137044. And, not all customers will qualify, licensed mortgage banker, New York State Department of Financial Services. And make sure you check them out, ladies and gentlemen, over there at 330 South Service Road, Melville, New York. With that said, we're going to conclude now. Any other words you want to add before we go, Des?
Well, tell your friends, tell your relatives, anybody that you know or hear them say they want to purchase a house, but they don't know where to start. They have the dream, they want to do it 10 years from now. Let's talk. Invite them to come and watch tomorrow, and I could share some information. Hopefully I could take questions at some point, and we'll help people get into more homes.
There you go. Mortgages with Des Ethridge, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in, 93.5 FM New York time, of course, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and hear more about how you can buy your home, how you can get pre-approved right now. Call her at 800-517-0235. It's about time for me to get back in the gym. I came out just to speak with you, Des, and trying to quick out of it, But thanks again for being here with us. Take
Anytime.
care, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.